I probably should not even be calling this an English style longbow build, because this build is not authentic to an English style longbow. But the shape, the curvature, that's what we're looking for. I've been holding off on this video for a while because I wanted to do it properly. I wanted the right wood, the right tools to dial everything in and make it perfect. But then inspiration came from an unsuspecting place. I was talking to a subscriber who's been learning how to make bows. And he was showing me a couple of the bows he had and a couple he had made recently. But one of the bows that really stuck out to me was a red oak longbow he picked up from a Renaissance fair in like 2006 or something. So we're talking a 15-year-old bow. And this oak longbow was shaped and built very similar to an English style longbow. The only difference was the material was not traditional. And that bow had a ton of set in it. So the bow at rest, the limbs were kind of angled back a little bit, but it shot great. And I'm not one to let the imperfect scenario keep me from trying something. So I was like, what wood do I have on hand? And could I try to build this style, this shape of bow myself? So that's where this began, with an imperfect piece of hickory that was gonna go to the trash. So worst case scenario, I break it and it was just a scrap piece of wood anyway because it wasn't good enough for a stave. But because it's extra long and hickory is pretty strong, maybe there's a chance that this could work out really good. So the one principle I always know I need to keep in mind is to take my time. I'm gonna use power tools. I'm gonna use some hand tools. The power tools are to speed up the process. I prefer building with hand tools and would love to do everything traditionally, but today we're not going to be able to. But the principle is still true, to take my time. Because when I take my time, I always end up getting a better result. Now, today's sponsor will help you also get a better result. AG1 is the sponsor of today's video. Now, AG1 has jam-packed 75 vitamins and minerals into one easy, good-tasting drink that you take daily. So what does AG1 do for you? Well, simply put, AG1 is foundational nutrition. It improves your gut health, your immune system, and your overall energy. So instead of taking countless pills and vitamins, you can take it all in one simple drink. I love that AG1 values scientific research, rigorous testing, and a very high quality product. They really care about getting the right nutrients in the body. That's what this is all about. The goal is not to just survive the day, but to thrive the day, and AG1 helps with that. It's so simple to use. They have it in these really cool little packets or in this awesome container. From just the water bottle to the scoop to the packaging to the actual product. It's quality all the way through, and that's what I really value about AG1. In order for you to get your foundational nutrition from AG1, go to drinkag1.com/Kramer Ammons to get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 and K2 and 5 AG1 travel packs. Thank you AG1 for sponsoring today's video. So let's jump right into this bow build. And so we begin with layout. I'm using power tools today for speed so that I can make more videos quicker. Although it's not my preferred method if I'm looking to meditatively build a bow, it is the fastest method which has its place. English-style longbow is crowned heavily. The idea here is to use a round-over bit on the router table to hog off most of the material. This should give me evenly rounded corners, which will be a great starting point before I jump into using hand tools. The more I work on this, the more I realize this is more like an extra long hickory longbow with rounded corners than it is like a English style longbow. So if you make English style longbows, I'm not trying to make that. Please don't be mad at me. Actually, I don't really care. Bows that are longer have many advantages over shorter bows. Longer bows are more forgiving. They're generally easier to shoot and smoother to shoot, and often can feel more accurate. The downsides are they can feel cumbersome, they can feel heavy, but accuracy is my new fascination with longer bows. Because speed is fun to chase, but it's not so fun if you can't hit your target. And I've noticed with these wooden bows, the longer I make them, the better I shoot. This is fascinating and intriguing, and has recently enticed me to make more longer bows. So we're now at the point where it's tiller time. It's time to remove more material and make it bend right. With it being so crowned, I'm believing that it's best to remove it evenly off the entire C. But with the scraper, that's not as easy to do as like sandpaper, but sandpaper takes a long time. So I'm gonna alternate between the scraper and the sandpaper, and then when I get close to the finished tiller, I'll take more time making it very uniform and slow down near the end. So let's see if we can get this shooting, and hopefully shooting very well. Tillering is tedious. Not much visually changes, but functionally the bow is shifting and changing with every scrape and every stroke of sandpaper. This isn't the part that makes it look the way it looks. This is the part that makes it shoot the way it shoots. Patience, persistence, and patience is what you need to be good at tillering. I frequently spend 3 to 4 hours on tillering a bow, and the process is a repeatable process. And what I tend to do is start more aggressive and become more careful the closer I get to the finished bow. Now we have a string on it. The tiller's most of the way there. I'm going to draw this to many different lengths and check the bow's poundage as I go. I'm testing different draw lengths to see how heavy the bow is at that poundage. I don't want to make it too heavy, but I also don't want to make it too light. This is a really good example of what I do in between every time I remove material. It takes a few minutes each time. So, check it out. I'm wearing the Essential Arm Guard because the brace head's pretty low on this and I don't want to have extra wrist slap. This is not an English style longbow, but it's inspired by one. I didn't get everything wrong with this bow though. The height is pretty close to what an English longbow would be at 72 inches. Also, the shape is similar as well. The things that aren't the same is that I used hickory instead of yew. And some English longbows are from ash or elm. So hickory's not too far off, is it? The tip overlays would have been designed a little bit different as well. And possibly the most glaring biggest difference is I made a 50-pound bow at my draw length, whereas the traditional English longbows would have been minimum 80 pounds. Different sources say different things, but 80 to 180 pounds most likely. And then of course, my building method was not traditional whatsoever. I'm aware of all of that, and I actually want to get a yew stave and use traditional tools to make a traditional English longbow. I think that would be a lot of fun. These longer bows are kind of growing on me. The bow definitely has some pretty cool character to it. Again, this is a piece of wood that did not make the cut of our hickory staves. It's not even close to following a growth ring, with a ton of growth rings being shedded on that side. And then we've got this discoloration of the wood. It's a little harder there. It's kind of rotten. I don't know what that's called. In the end, there it is. Pretty excited about it. Now, if you want me to make an official, actual, real, not fake English style longbow, I could start trying to figure that out. I could. See you on the next video.